Just make sure everything's good.
Test, test.
Do you want Joe on video to do it or Joe not to do it on video for the host?
Not video.
Not video.
You can talk out, you know.
I don't have to do this.
So, all right, Alex, I'm gonna make you the host.
Can't even tell you what time it is. Got a smart watch and it does everything but time.
3:59. Got one more minute.
Your third take off, you're on,
We're on?
you're all being recorded, yeah.
Okay.
If you want a photo bomb or do something like that.
All right, folks, we'll wait for a second and then we'll dive in. Does that work good? All right, you guys ready for me to go? Alex, good? Is that better? I'll survive. All right. Committee members, are we good to go? All right. Well, good morning, everybody, or afternoon. Sorry about that. My name is Joe Canavan. I'm a member of the ownership group here at Bluestream. I'm Chief Executive Officer, and I also am on the board of directors. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today to talk with the community about Bluestream Fiber, some of the things that we'd like to hopefully help partner with inside of the community to build a new fiber optic network in here, and all the great services that come along with that. So what we'll do today is we will start off by going into a little bit about Bluestream's background. Then we'll talk about our products and services, what it's like to have a network built in a community, and then we can answer questions if there are a couple submitted via chat at the end. So to start off, Bluestream Fiber has been in business for over 40 years. We started back in 1978 as Cable TV of Coral Springs, and we've grown across the state since then. We did our first fiber to the home community up in Port St. Lucie in 2002. So we have almost 20 years of experience with fiber. When it comes to our products and services, they're really unmatched in the industry. On the internet side of the house, the networks that we put in are capable of speeds up to 10 gigabits per second. When we install Wi-Fi in your home, it's 100% Wi-Fi coverage inside of the home. So we put in what's called whole home Wi-Fi, so you can make sure that you have Wi-Fi speeds throughout the house or throughout the condo that can stream 4K video in all the rooms of the home. On the TV side of the house, we have a great product that's really easy to use, but has all the power and the features that people want for the future of TV. So it's a network DVR with voice remote, and then it has all the apps built in from the Google App Store. And you can actually watch your TV from Sterling Oaks when you're up north. So for those of you who snowboard or snowbird, either one, you have the capability to actually watch your Sterling Oaks video when you're back up north, as long as you have an internet connection. So it's a great value for snowbirds to save when they're away. On the phone side of the house, we have a great phone product. It is a highly reliable phone product with all of the bells and whistles that you would expect from any national phone provider, but it's offered at a great low rate. It's only $19.99 a month. And then there's no hidden fees beyond the government's taxes. So there's no kind of hidden charges with that. And with regards to other services that we can offer the association or homeowners, we also have enterprise services that we would supply here at the clubhouse and for the guard gates and things. And then we also have anybody who wants home automation, we have those capabilities as well. Now, at the heart of Bluestream, what we really are is we're a customer service company. And that really begins with how we answer our phones. So time somebody calls our call center, whether it's to sign up for a service, a question about a bill, technical support, it's a 1-minute answer time. And it's not only the call center that's important to react quickly, but it's also if you have a challenge inside of your home. So if there's something that we're not able to fix over the phone, we'll actually be to your home in under 4 hours from your phone call. So if you were to call us at noon, we would be to your house by 4 o'clock to fix your internet or TV service. And that's really the heart of Bluestream. It is that customer support. And one of the things that I've learned over my years here working with associations in South Florida is that for homeowners association, one of the largest line items in the budget every year is your TV and internet line item. And for other providers in the state, they don't treat you the way that you treat them. You are paying them the most money from your association, but they're not giving you enterprise level support. So we actually have an enterprise level service agreement in our contract that requires us to respond quickly, keep the network up, perform to certain performance standards. And if we don't perform to those standards, there are penalties in the contract up to and including contractual termination. That's how seriously we take everything. That's how seriously we take reliability, and we put it all in writing. Now, because we do these things, we're highly rated. If you Google Bluestream Fiber, you'll see that our main location in Coral Springs will come up, and you'll see that we're, depending on the day of the week, a 4.2 or 4.1 at a 5-star rating, and there's over 2,000 5-star reviews on there. There are some reviews that aren't as 5-star-y as we'd like, but every time we get one of those, we always follow up with the customer and make sure we resolve the issue. We're A+ rated on the Better Business Bureau, and we win awards for our technology. We're one of the top 5 providers in the country for speed by Netflix, and during the middle of the pandemic, we won the top national provider for speed from Broadband Now. We were able to keep up our network and actually be one of the best performing networks in the country during the height of broadband use. So that's a lot about kind of Bluestream as a company. Let's talk about the products and services that we put inside of people's homes. So first off, the first thing I want to talk about is the difference between the network you have today and the network that you would get tomorrow with Bluestream. And the reason I'm talking about this is because fundamentally, for the products to work inside your home, the network needs to work in the community. So what you have over here is a traditional coaxial network like you have in the community that's called a fiber to the node network. And what happens in that network is there's a little bit of fiber, there's a little bit there, but that fiber comes to a node. And then from that node, you go to power supplies, amplifiers, line extenders, taps, splitters. You guys have probably all seen those little boxes that are above ground that, or maybe they're tipped over, or lawnmower hits them sometimes. And then from there, they go into all your houses. And what happens with a network like that is it's a game of whack-a-mole to keep it on, right? You might have one street where they've had perfect service for years. They have no idea why the community would be looking at an alternative provider. Then the next street over or the next house over has had nothing but problems for the years. And that's because of the way this network works. It's a game of whack-a-mole. The network is susceptible to 3 things: heat, water, and electricity. We happen to be in the hottest, wettest, most lightning-struck part of the country. So this network degrades over time, and you're constantly chasing deferred maintenance to keep it up. But with a fiber optic network, what you're doing, it's a 100% fiber optic connection from our data center all the way to every single house or condo. There's no splitters, taps, amplifiers, any of that stuff. So because you have this 100% fiber optic network, it's future proof, right? It starts off ready to put 10 gigs into people's homes, but it will, as things go on and things move on, it'll be 40, 50, 60, 80, 100 gig capable. We don't have to ever replace the network to do that. It's future proof also for the amount of bandwidth that people use. We don't put caps, data caps on our bandwidth. If you want to go stream Netflix 24/7, 365, go for it. And it also can increase home values. What we've really seen here, especially since the pandemic, is that the new buyer, especially coming down from the north, is not fully retired yet. A lot of the new buyers are moving in, they're still working from home, they're working remotely. And what people used to do is they would buy a house, snowbird a little bit, and then eventually retire in it. What you're seeing now is people saying, I'm going to make the full-time move to Florida. I'm going to move there now and work remotely. And because your neighborhood, if it was with Bluestream Fiber, would have fiber optics, for the people where an amenity that matters is technology, you're able to attract that buyer, and always having more buyers for your community always helps to increase home value. Now, inside of your home or inside of your condo unit, we want to make sure that you have full coverage of Wi-Fi. So in a typical home, what happens with your existing provider today, for example, is you'll have one Wi-Fi access point. And what that will do is that will give you good Wi-Fi. Maybe it's just in the family room, or maybe it's just in one bedroom, or maybe it's just in the den. But the further and further away you get from that, the worse the Wi-Fi signal gets. And there's probably even some parts of your homes that don't have any Wi-Fi signal at all, or you can barely even do anything with your phone or your tablet in those rooms. But with Bluestream, what we do is we put in multiple access points. And what that does is it helps cover the whole house. So you have Wi-Fi throughout the home. You're able to make sure that at a minimum, you can stream 4K content throughout every room of the home. And you're really able to get the most use out of that fiber optic network. If you don't put in whole home Wi-Fi, there's no reason to go with fiber. Because what you're doing is you're really turning fiber back into coax, right? Because you're having performance issues. So whole home Wi-Fi is the final ingredient really to getting great internet coverage in your house. So we're going to put in a great network that's more reliable, and then the whole home Wi-Fi will provide the coverage for all your devices. Now, for those of you who have hardwired devices, maybe you prefer to connect your computer directly into our fiber optic router. Maybe you prefer to connect a gaming system into it. Well, we can support that too. In the back of a device, we call it ONT. This is like a fiber optic modem. There are ports on here, so we can hardwire that in. I'll talk in a couple minutes about where we put this in the house and how we can customize it for each homeowner. But I just want you to know that whether it's wired or wirelessly, we can take care of you. And speaking of taking care of you, one of the things that we do at Bluestream that other providers don't is we provide reports to the board quarterly on our performance. And what this is here is this is just an example of a report we recently shared with Herons Glen. So Herons Glen is a community that's up in North Fort Myers, similar to yours in level of homes and amenities. And what you see is we provide a report out to them every single month on the reliability of the network, what was the uptime on the network, and then we provide them a report that shows the speed of all the devices in the community. And what this report here is showing you is that from March, when their network launched on, it's been 100% uptime in that community. And that's because we put a lot of redundancy into our network. And then you see that the lowest speed, 8.4% of people are going 300 megabits per second. The rest of the community is going over that. And the speed that we promise in the contract is 300. So in this case, 100% of the homeowners are getting what they pay for. And again, we provide these reports quarterly to the association. We also do a lot to protect you inside of your home from threats. So when we put that whole home Wi-Fi network in, it's not just providing Wi-Fi coverage for your house, it's also providing protection. So built into that network is a network layer security system. So it's not just about protecting your PC, which is what security used to be about. It's about protecting your phone. It's about protecting your Ring doorbell, your TV set, and all the other devices in your home from malware and spyware and viruses and other things. You also have a capability using an app to control it. So if you're a bit of a technologist and you want to control who can access and not access your network, you want to see the statistics on uptime, you want to see the statistics on speed, you want to set a guest network up, you can do all kinds of things. There was a question about reserving IPs inside of that network for printers. You can do that. You can do all sorts of stuff with this. So it's good to know that for the folks who don't like a ton of technology, it just works. But for the folks who want the best and they want to use all of it, those capabilities are there as well. And speaking of the best, we really feel that at Bluestream, we have the absolute best TV service because we have a very unique partnership. We have a partnership with TiVo, who creates our DVR user interface and software. And then we have a partnership with Google, who gives us access to their app store and their voice remote technology. And then we have partnerships with all the same national channels that you would have from a company like a DirecTV or a Comcast, et cetera. So because we have this unique partnership, what we're able to offer you is the best of TV. For folks in the community who just want regular TV, don't worry, nothing fancy. Just hit the power button, the TV comes on, just watch your shows. But most folks today, and I think most of you in the audience, want to do more than that. So there's a network DVR built into this. So you can record your shows, they're stored in our data center, and you can access those shows not only in any room of your house, but anywhere you are in the country. And let's say that lightning was to hit your house and the set-top box didn't survive that. Well, the good news is your shows did because they're in our data center. So if we ever have to swap out a box, you're never going to lose not only your recordings are going to be kept, but also all your settings. Additionally, we have really great on-demand features. One of those is called Start Over and Catch Up. What that means is if you're watching a show live, and let's say like an episode of CSI, right, a crime show, and you're there 5-10 minutes late and you miss what happened, right, the big crime in the beginning. Well, with Bluestream, you hit Start Over and you can actually start watching it from the beginning. Or let's say that you were here at the clubhouse and you heard from somebody about a great golf match that occurred, or you heard about a great event that was on TV earlier that day, and maybe you forgot to record it, or it's not available and on demand yet. Well, guess what? With Bluestream, all of the shows that aired in the last 72 hours are available in the guide. You just go back in the guide and you can actually watch all the shows that happened up to 3 days earlier. There's also 30,000 on-demand titles. You can get to those by just saying it into your remote. So you could say CSI, you could say Lost, you could say The Voice. I'm clearly dating myself as to when TV was peak for me. But the good thing about that is you have all that capability. And the voice remote, you can not only change the TV channel, but you could say, give me TV shows with Bruce Willis in it. Give me TV shows with Denzel Washington in them. You can just actually tell it what you want, and it's going to control the TV for you. There's over 5,000 apps from the Google App Store. So you're able to get all the apps you like and want on TV, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, YouTube, Spotify. It runs the gamut. It's 4K ready too. Our set-top boxes support 4K. So next year, in the early half of next year, we're going to launch our first 4K signals on our network. So you're actually going to be able to watch TV in 4K. And for those of you who have a 4K TV and seen it, it is actually like real life. I used to think HD was amazing, but 4K is amazing squared. And lastly, the set-top boxes are small. They're actually this small, and they're wireless. So we're able to put these behind your TV set. You can put them inside of a media cabinet. You can tuck them away so you don't ever have to see them. And our remotes will still get the signal to them through the wireless connection. Now, if for some reason you want to hardwire it, you can do that too. But we find that most people like the flexibility of that wireless connection. Additionally, our service works on tablets and smartphones, whether they're Android or they're Apple. So you can actually watch your live TV channels there. You can watch your recordings there. You can watch on demand. It also works on Fire Sticks. You can download the Bluestream TV app onto a Fire Stick or an Apple TV device or an Android TV device. And what's really nice about this is two things. Number one, if you're here and you want more of these boxes for more TVs you have in your home than might have been included inside of the community agreement, well, guess what? You don't have to pay Bluestream. You could actually, if you're comfortable with it, just go get a Fire Stick and use that. So there's no additional monthly fee. Or if you're a snowbird and maybe you spend 6 months of the year up in Boston or Cleveland or somewhere up north, you can actually just take that Fire Stick with you up north. And as long as you have an internet connection, you can watch your TV service. So you don't have to pay for your TV service up north during the summertime. And that's a huge savings. That could be up to $600 a year, depending upon what you subscribe to up there. Now let's talk about phone service. As I said earlier, this is a great phone product. It has 29 calling features, all the things you want and love. Call waiting, call forwarding, call blocking, call unavailable, all those kind of things are built into it. And there's just no gimmicks with Bluestream. With us, the price is $19.99 a month. There's not what sometimes is referred to as a subscriber line charge or an access charge. Those are really just profit centers for a lot of other companies. It's $19.99 a month. Government tax gets their taxes on top of that, but there's never anything beyond that that goes into Bluestream's pockets. And we have great international rates as well. So you can use this as one phone service. You don't have to cobble together a phone card or maybe an outside calling plan. You can do everything with Bluestream's phone. Now, let's talk about what a transition is like from an existing network to Bluestream Fiber. The key for me and my company and my team is to make it easy on you. And it has taken a lot of work and a lot of years to get as good as we are at this, but I can tell you that this is the best transition plan in the business. And it starts off with smooth construction. A lot of times when a community is going to build a network, they don't know what it's going to be like, and they start to think about the worst case scenarios. But that doesn't happen with Bluestream. And the reason for that is this is our first introduction to your community, so we take it very seriously. It's a very big responsibility of ours. The process begins when we meet with your board and we go over a design review plan. We show them the design for the community. We talk about the schedule for the community, and we introduce them to their dedicated project manager and construction manager who will oversee the whole process from start to finish. After we have approval of that, we'll start to work our way around the neighborhood in sections. When we come to your section to do installation, a couple things will happen. First off, we're going to put a little note on your door, going to do a door tag. And on that door tag will actually be the phone number of the supervisor on site. So if you ever have any questions about the construction process or something that you want them to come look at, you can actually call the supervisor directly. You don't have to call our support number who then goes chases somebody down. We like to have that connection with you. Additionally, during this process, any landscaping that does get disturbed, whether it's grass or whether it might be a flower bed or something, is going to get repaired or replaced within 5 days of that being disrupted. We go around and are constantly doing maintenance to get that taken care of. We also do wet checks for sprinkler systems and a number of other things to make sure that everything that was there before Bluestream showed up and after is the same. Now, after the smooth construction process, this is really where successes happen. It's really in the in-home installation. So we'll talk about some details about this in a minute, but the number one thing I want to stress is customer education and training. When you convert from your existing platform to the new one, the thing most people need to learn is how to use the remote. So what we do is we start off with a half-hour one-on-one training inside of your home on how to use the remote. We leave behind printed materials that were designed based on the AARP standards for training seniors. So for folks who are less technologically forward, they're really designed for you. For the folks who are technologically forward and they want us to hand them the remote and get out, we'll do that too. You don't have to have us there for a half hour. But we'll also come back if you want additional training, and we will come back and do an additional 1 hour long one-on-one training session in your home to cover anything that you maybe want additional training on, or if you want us to set up your recordings or whatever it may be. And then afterwards, we back it all up with the Bluestream guarantee. So the Bluestream guarantee is a contractual promise in the contract that is the equivalent that a large hospital network would get or a large education network would get, that guarantees the uptime of the network, how fast the speeds will be inside of the home, how well the video service works, how quickly we answer the phone, how quickly we get to your house to fix a problem, and how quickly problems are fixed. All of that is in the Bluestream customer guarantee, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. So to start off, to build your network inside of the community, it's about a 9-month process. And what it does is it starts with a 1-month design, and then it's about 6 months of underground construction. And again, we're not going to be everywhere for 6 months. We'll work our way around the community section by section. When we're in your section, we'll be there for about 2 weeks. But again, it's not like there's going to be a bunch of open holes or all of that. We know that we're guests in your community, and it's our utmost responsibility to take that responsibility seriously. So after the underground network phase, we'll start doing in-home installations. And the in-home installations, what we'll do is we'll open up a window of about 60 to 90 days, 2 to 3 months, where you can pick a day and time that you want to be installed inside of your house. We don't have any program that forces you to have to be here a certain day and time. And if you're a snowbird and you're away during the installation, well, good news. You don't have to be there when we're doing it. Just give us a call ahead of time before you come back, and we'll meet you there the day you come back, and we'll install your services that day. Throughout this process, there's a dedicated launch team that works with the community, including on-site support during the installation phase here in the clubhouse, where we'll have a representative. It'll probably be Melanie, that some of you in the community already know. And that person will work with you to schedule appointments, they'll answer questions, they'll do customer training, demonstrations, escalations, etc. We do the in-home training we talked about. And then I personally stand behind all this. Your property manager and your board members will not only have my phone number, they'll have my personal cell phone number. It's a 617 area code number that I got back in Boston in 1998. I've had it ever since. And because my team does such a good job day to day, it doesn't ring that often. But when it does, it's important to know that your community has immediate access to me for anything that's needed. Now, when we do the network construction, we do 100% fiber, right? There's no coaxial components, there's no copper in this network. All of our fiber is protected underground in conduit. So what that means is it lowers any risk of a landscaper putting a tree in and causing an outage in the community. It's all underground as well. So you're not going to have extra pedestals in the community. They're all in these things called vaults. A vault is about a 2 foot wide by 3 foot long box in the ground. It looks kind of like a slightly oversized sprinkler control box. As I mentioned before, we repair and replace any landscape weekly, and then we have weekly project meetings on site here to keep your community updated and aware of what's going on week to week. When we do the construction, this is an example of wall constructions going on. In this case, we were doing some hand trenching because it was right near a large water main, so we dug that by hand for safety. And then you see afterwards, we put grass back down and you actually can't tell where the hole was. So again, we do the work and then it doesn't even look like we're there. So to install the services inside of your community, there's two housing styles here, right? You have single family homes or townhomes, and then you also have condos. So we're going to talk about each. Now for the single family home or townhomes, what we'll do is we will come up along the side of the house where the utility wall is, and that's kind of where your power and other things are outside of your house. And we'll come up along the side of it with a conduit underground. We'll then go up along the side of the wall with a piece of molding. Now, don't worry, it's not yellow. It's yellow here so you can see it in the picture, but it's about the size of your thumb. And we go up that, and then we'll paint that to match your house afterwards. Inside the home, we then go along in the attic with that fiber optics, and then we'll come down inside of an interior wall and create a fiber optic outlet. Now, you can work with us to decide where to put that. Now, we have a preference for where that should go based on the best Wi-Fi access for the home. But if you come back to us and say, no, I don't want that located over there. I want that on this wall, or I want that in this room. We'll move that around as long as we can access it through the attic. After that, what we do is we install the fiber optic ONT. Again, that's this device right here. So we can put that, again, it could be on someone's desk. It could be mounted on a wall. It could be out of the way. Again, we don't want to have this front and center in your living room. We know you don't want to look at it. So we'll tuck it away so you don't see it. And then from there, what we'll do is we set up that mesh network that will provide coverage throughout the house. And then we'll connect all the TV sets via the wireless set-top boxes to this network. Inside of condos, what we'll do is we will ideally use the existing conduit that runs from outside the building to inside of your house for the telecommunications. Now, if that's not available, what we can do is we can do what's called a post wire technique, where we will wire up the side of the building and get into the home. Now, inside of your units, what we'll do is we'll put the ONT near where the conduit comes out. Or if you want, we can move that around the unit if we can't access an attic space using something called invisible fiber. Invisible fiber is about as thick as a piece of fishing line. And we can actually tuck that either near a baseboard or up in the corner of the ceiling, and you won't even see it, and move that around. Then once that's all set, what we'll do is we'll install the whole home Wi-Fi. You'll have Wi-Fi coverage throughout the unit. And again, we'll connect the set-top boxes wirelessly. Now, when we do your installation, 99% of the time it's done in one visit. And that's really great, especially if somebody's coming down or they're setting aside time to do the installation. Now, because we're installing the fiber and all your services at the same time, it takes about 2 to 3 hours. And when we do the installation, like I said before, we're going to do that 30-minute long one-on-one training. We'll come back and do more training later if you want. We will set up your Wi-Fi network. Typically what we do is we will clone your existing Wi-Fi network name and password so your devices move over more easily. But if you want us to set one up from scratch, we'll set it up from scratch. We're also going to install all the set-top boxes and program the remote controls to work not only with the set-top boxes, but also your TV, or if you have a sound bar or those kind of things. And then if you have a phone number that you're moving from an existing provider to Bluestream, we'll also move the phone number over at that point. That's called phone number porting, where we'll port the phone number over. As I said before, success in a community transition is not really about the network construction. It's really about the community and the individual trainings. That's why for us, it's a really big deal. I talked about some of the one-on-one training we do before, but we also have the on-site support desk during the installation phase. We will conduct training classes here in the clubhouse. We will have printed training materials that we leave behind in every single home. We have online videos that you can access and online training. And you can even say into the remote control, teach me TiVo, and it will bring up TiVo tips and tricks. So we have a whole bunch of ways to get people accustomed to their new service, get people trained and comfortable, and getting the most out of their video product. We also have a lot of communication that we do with the community. This is a bit of an eye chart here, but there's 5 phases where we send out communication. The first phase is if we're lucky enough to partner with you and be picked. When the contract is signed, we're going to send a welcome welcome letter from Bluestream, and we'll talk about town halls and other information sessions that we're going to do. We're going to have during that construction phase, as I mentioned, we're going to give everyone a heads up before we come to their section of the neighborhood to do the construction, talk about what's going on with the construction, what the restoration is like, and what to do if they have any needs or they want any help. We'll do the sign up for services communication where we talk about the services. We'll do some pre-training. We'll do some friendly testing, the day of in-home installation, and then we follow up with surveys after the fact. We like to follow up with surveys after the fact because we want to know, is everybody happy with their services? Now, before we leave anybody's house, we test all of them. We test the Wi-Fi in all the rooms. We test the ONT signal. We test what's called light level inside of the network. We make sure it works. But the best way to make sure the proof is, kind of proof is in the pudding thing is to actually survey you afterwards as well. And when we do that survey, what we typically see is that 95% of people rate us a 7 out of 10 or higher. And what that does when you put it into something called a Net Promoter Score,
You're just went mute.
I went mute. I went mute when I'm talking about the good stuff.
No, you're going through your microphone there. It muted and-
Can you guys hear me? No, I know, I
Yes.
meant on the YouTube.
Yes.
It's important to make sure the one over there. All of a sudden you were still talking, the screen came up and.
Do we know? Can we go check? Hold on, folks. We're checking the audio. I was on a roll too. You guys want me to keep talking so you can see if the audio is working? It's helpful.
I can hear you.
All right, we're back. Now we're back, right, for the good stuff. Maybe the competition cut my mic. So as I was saying before, Bluestream Fiber's satisfaction is on par with the products people love the most. High-end department store like a Nordstrom's, service like Netflix, Apple products, right, like Apple's iPhone. And you compare that to typical industry satisfaction scores for the cable industry, which are negative. So again, with Bluestream Fiber, not only do we put in the right network, we take the time to train you correctly on how to use it. We survey you afterwards. And when we do that survey, it shows up time and time and time again that we're doing what we need to do to keep our customers happy. Now, one more thing we do to keep you happy is keep you online. So what we do here at Bluestream Fiber is we run our company out of 6 data centers around the state. We own 3 of them. We lease space in the others. And we have a network that connects them together for redundancy at the large network level. Now, we take that redundancy, which is typically reserved for someone like a hospital, and we actually bring it down to the community level. So what we do here at Bluestream is we will connect redundantly to the data center with fiber optic cables. So what that means is that we'll go up and down 41. One cable will come out and go north, one cable will come out and go south, and they'll connect back to our data center over in Naples redundantly so that we make sure we keep you up and running. Again, you saw before, when we do that service, we typically end up with 100% uptime every year or 6 nines of uptime, which means that that network only goes off for about 30 seconds over the course of a year. And one nice thing about Bluestream also is that we have a virtual technician capability. Because we have that smart network inside of your home, we're able to see all the devices that are connected. We can see the connection speed. We can see if they fall offline. When did they fall offline? How are they working? So that gives us a capability to do a lot of remote support so that if something does go bump inside of your home, we're able to fix it remotely and lowers the likelihood that you're going to need somebody to show up in a truck to fix the problem. And this here is the Bluestream customer guarantee. So as we said before, it starts off with customer service, where there is a dedicated support number here for the community. It's a 100% US-based call center, so you're not going to be talking to somebody overseas, and we guarantee the 1-minute answer times for our service. For in-home visits, we guarantee that if something goes wrong in your house where your TV signal goes out or your internet signal goes out, we will be there to fix it in 4 hours. That is unmatched. Normally, the only folks who get that are like a hospital system or a city government, but you here in your community will get that from Bluestream. And we have a get it right promise. So if we come to your house to fix something and we don't fix it right the first time, we actually give you a $20 credit on your bill because we want to make sure that we're putting our money where the mouth is and that we're going to fix it right every time. On reliability, we guarantee the uptime of the network inside of the community. So we have that guarantee. We have guarantees on the speed, right? Everyone's speed inside their home is guaranteed. And we provide the community, as I mentioned before, a quarterly report. It shows how many phone calls were in the community, how many truck rolls were in the community, how quickly did we respond to those? Did we fulfill our service level? What was the uptime of the video product? What was the uptime of the internet product? What was the speed? So you actually have a full picture every quarter delivered to the board. And what that would be delivered is an email that goes to the board that has the report in it. And then we'll have a community representative come and answer any questions that come up from that. And then lastly, a partnership with a fiber optic company is a multi-year partnership, but we know that technology changes over time. We know that the technology of today is not going to be the technology of 5 years from now. So what we do inside of the agreement to protect you is a couple things. First off, we upgrade the internet speed every 2 years. So we guarantee the internet speed for the community will keep going up so you'll keep up with the Joneses. We also do a technology review meeting. So in year 4 of the agreement, or earlier if you want, we sit down with the board, we look at the technology that's available, we look at the technologies that there, we can make upgrades, we can make trade-offs, we can do all sorts of things to make sure we're keeping you up to date. And then lastly, if there's ever a point in time where the community, it has to be a community-wide decision, decides that they don't want bulk video, they want just bulk internet, at the community's decision, the community can convert the contract from an internet and TV contract to just an internet contract. So this is all the ways that Bluestream stands behind our products and services and make sure that you're protected for the future. So with that, what I'll do is I will turn it over to the committee. I don't know how we're doing questions here, but I'm happy to answer any questions that have kind of come up through chat or through YouTube about Bluestream and our services.
You have a carry in, because these STBs typically go for the and if one goes, can I carry it in and get it exchanged, or do I have to have somebody come?
Yeah, so with the set-top boxes, we will be there within 4 hours to drop off a new one. But if you want to exchange one, what we do is we will leave a stack of these in your property manager's office. You can just go over there and pick it up. So you actually can come on site here. You don't even have to drive out of the neighborhood, or call us and we'll be there in 4 hours. Mhm. So the question for the audience is, you have an existing network out there, which may be in a certain level of upkeep. What happens to it? Well, it really depends upon the contract with your current provider. If the contract with your current provider says that there's tolling language in there, which is like removal of the network, then they'll have to remove it or give you rights to the network to remove it. We, unfortunately, the FCC doesn't allow us to touch their network, so I can't come in and remove that for you. But we certainly, depending upon the language in your contract, if you have the rights to do that, we know a lot of people who are really good at pulling coax out of the ground.
Just the coax, it's the pedestals.
Yeah. Well,
All the ancillaries.
yeah.
Can you address vacation holds?
Mhm. Yeah, so the question for the audience is, how does Bluestream Fiber handle vacation holds? So a couple of things. We have a vacation hold capability for upgraded services. So if you've had added services inside the home, like phone or other things, and you want to put those on vacation hold, you can. Now, for the core services that are part of the community agreement, those stay on throughout the year. So your internet service and your TV service will be on throughout the year. Did the voice go out again?
No, just that when somebody asks a question, can you please just repeat it?
Okay.
So that you're-
Yes. Oh, I didn't do it on the first one. I think I got it on this one, but well, all right. So what we're, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So on the vacation hold side, upgraded services, absolutely, you can put them on vacation hold. We do that all the time. For the services that are part of the community's amenity and part of your HOA dues, those stay on throughout the year. Now, for a lot of people, when that stays on now, what they're doing when the internet's on in their home is they're putting in Ring doorbells and Nest thermostats and water monitoring systems. So you can actually take advantage of the internet being on year round to do that. The video service, you don't want to put that on vacation hold because now if you are a snowbird, you can actually take your Bluestream fiber TV with you anywhere in the country, just like you would take a direct TV or a streaming service. So you're going to get a benefit throughout the year, no matter where you are.
Have you had wireless network thing? Or maybe because somebody's got some kind of electronics in their house that interfere with the wire.
So the question was, in recent memory, are there, examples of the wireless networks inside the homes not performing? And for the most part, the networks perform just fine. You install them, they're up and running. Now, if your house gets hit with like lightning and an access point dies, or our biggest challenge is actually people cleaning their house, where what happens is they'll take one of our access points, it looks like a little hockey puck, and they'll unplug it and they'll plug in a vacuum cleaner, and then they leave it unplugged. The nice part about with Bluestream is if that happens, we see it, right? We actually can see that. So if you call in and say, hey, my Wi-Fi is not working in the dining room anymore, we can say, well, I see that the dining room access point is unplugged. So, there is no global example of the internet not working or something going wrong with it. But if any individual home has a problem, we'll be able to figure that out.
What technology Wi-Fi? 5?
The question is what technology Wi-Fi? It would be AX, 802.11ax, which is Wi-Fi 6. So those are all the new things coming off the assembly lines nowadays.
On your phone system, you offer such products as No More Robo, or what are you doing to eliminate
Robocalls.
the robocalls?
So the question is, do we have Nomo, Robo, or other calls? So there's two things we do. It's so funny that the world of phone has evolved so much that the most popular feature on our phone service is now not getting calls from the robocallers. So yes, we do participate with Nomo Robo. They are fully integrated. And also recently the FCC put out a new standard. It's called Shake Stir, and we are Shake Stir compliant. So between Shake Stir and Nomo Robo, we are greatly reducing, if not eliminating, robocalls that go to your landline.
One of our residents asked, is there a charge for service calls during the 10-year period?
That's a great question. So the question of what happens if something breaks, right? So a couple things. If it's us, it's on us, complimentary service calls. But if you happen to, use this, put a plant on top of it and water it, well, that one's on you. So we do sometimes have service call charges. It's really only if it's something that you've done to the equipment or you've done to break the network, which doesn't happen that often. And those charges are typically pretty minimal. I think it's somewhere around $50. We do have a home protection plan. Like some people like to have that kind of monthly wire service. We don't have wires, so we don't need a wire service. But if anybody feels like they don't want any unexpected charges, we do have a home protection plan that has some additional benefits for customers as well, but you don't have to take that either.
It's a little bit technical, but the remote and the STB.
Mhm.
Is the remote communication to the STB unique to each one? So if I have two TVs, 2 rooms back to back, and I want to put both STBs in a closet, I don't have an interference problem.
That's a great question. So the question that was asked is the remote control paired to the set-top box, right? Is each remote control work with a designated set-top box? And the answer is yes. And we have to do that now because of voice remote technology, right? So that remote needs to know which set-top box it's controlling when you use voice remote. Otherwise, what would happen is you would say, tune to ESPN, and every TV set in the house would tune to ESPN. Now that might be good for you, but if you're trying not to start a fight, it's probably not the best thing. So for us, it is paired. It is uniquely paired. Now, we also get the question, well, can I have 2 remote controls for the same set-top box? Because in some households, apparently, there's one remote on each side of the sofa, and the 2 people sit apart, and the dog's in the middle. The answer is yes. You can also have 2 remote controls for one set-top box. And for those in the audience, we're just going through the question list to see what all other things might not have been answered already.
Covered just about everything.
Okay. Well, we think we covered everything. If there are other questions, I do have a Blue Stream team that takes care of these kind of things. So we will work with your board and your property manager if something comes up afterwards, and we can address those just via email. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for having us. We'd be really lucky to partner with you, and we wish you the best with your decision. Bye for now.